All right. So we're talking courage and confidence and empowered mindset for whitewater kayaking and how to cultivate that, because it's not going to happen miraculously. We want to cultivate it. And so here are some things that I want you to think about, consider, play around with. Okay. One is separate fact from story, right? So there are many different ways within this. So fact can be rivers are made up of wave trains, V's, holes, waves, boofs, obstacles, and they are positioned differently depending on the river and the rapid, okay? So that's, so essentially you don't look at a rapid and be like, it's too much. You break it down. What's there? What's the, where do I want to end up? First of all, you always scout a rapid from bottom to top, right? Where do I want to end up? And you piece it together. And then you ask yourself, have I been practicing these moves in easy water? Have I built up the skill? Do I feel like I want to run it, right? Which is a little bit of story, which is okay, because if you're going to tell a story, tell an empowering one, right? Ways to kind of dive into that a little more is fact. Can you roll? Like, what is the percentage of your roll success? And there's two things, right? So there's risk assessment. So if your roll is only 50% working in combat situations, you might not want to run that class 4 river. On the other hand, I have folks come to me and tell me they don't have a roll, and then I watch them roll like 8 out of 10 times, 9 out of 10 times, or 10 out of 10 times, right? And that is not factual. If you keep telling yourself my roll doesn't work, but I watch you do it, your roll works, right? So stick to the facts. What is the evidence, right? And what evidence have you gathered from practicing those hard moves in easy water? What rivers have you been paddling? Have you been preparing yourself, right? Also, a rapid, someone might say that's a tough rapid, that's a difficult rapid. Or I might say that's a difficult rapid, but to someone else who is paddling all the time, who has a different viewpoint, different skill set, they might not think that that's such a hard rapid. So there is no absolute statement that is a hard rapid. I know we do say that, and it's not to take anything away from people, because there are definitely rapids that are, have a difficulty rating that you need to be prepared for, and some people are prepared for that. So, what's your preparation? What are the facts of that preparation? What are the results of that preparation? And be with that, okay? And then the other thing is, what stories are you telling what stories have you internalized that other people are telling? Because whitewater kayaking is full of love to tell war stories and make something out to be like a big deal when, again, maybe it's not, right? Just because someone else had a bad experience or a tough time on a rapid does not mean that you will. It just doesn't. That was then, that was in the past. You have no idea how they were feeling, what they ate for breakfast, what else was going on in their lives. Okay, so again, it's not an accurate statement to say, oh, because that person had a hard time, therefore that rapid is hard and I shouldn't do it. Okay, so again, how did you prepare? Like we've talked about before, how did you nourish yourself? How did you practice those hard moves in easy water? What have you been successful at? What have you not been successful at? Right? So at least have the discernment of separating fact from story. And if you're going to tell a story, you may as well tell an empowering one. So that's what I've got to say about that. Next is letting go of outcomes. Let go of outcomes. It's a yogic principle as well. In yoga, we talk about it. In the Bhagavad Gita, there is a whole section about, don't be attached to the fruits of your labor. Simply focus on the work itself. So focus on the journey. You come up to a rapid, And all you can do is do your best in that moment and for that rapid. And if it doesn't work out the way you had hoped, it doesn't work out the way you would hope. That's it. Again, let's go back to the fact versus story. So you take a swim, you pull your skirt, people help you, you get to shore, you get back in, you continue down. That's what happened. The story in your head might be like, oh my gosh, I suck. I can't believe I did that. Now everyone has to wait for me. Everyone's going to think I suck. No one's going to want to paddle with me again. You get the idea. None of that is factual, right? And so if you just let go of, we have to allow ourselves to be human and allow ourselves to make mistakes. And it's not even mistakes. There's not good or bad. It's simply experiences, and you take those experiences and you learn from them, right? And it's important to not get too attached to the highs or too averse to the lows, right? Then when you're super attached to the high and you expect it to be like that all the time, then you're super down when something happens that didn't go your way. And when you're so averse to that, what you resist persists, right? So then you're on this big emotional roller coaster. So much energy goes into that instead of energy that could just simply go into practicing hard moves on easy water, having fun with your friends, planning cool trips, investing in instruction, doing your practice, whatever it is, right? So much energy. So get off the roller coaster. Let go of your attachment to outcome. Put it all out there. Do your best, and then whatever the outcome is, you learn from it, and then you move on from there, right? All right. Next is do what brings you joy. So if I was actually having a conversation yesterday with someone up here at the deer field about, someone was saying, well, I'm just doing the Fife section, which is a class 2-3 section. And I was like, it's not just, you're doing the Fife section. Like, that's what brings you joy. That's where you're at. That's awesome. Enjoy that. And another woman in the group was like, yeah, what brings me, those flat water sections don't bring me joy. So I prefer being on the dry way. And there's nothing wrong with that either, right? Do what brings you joy. The deal is don't judge people. Don't categorize people as less than because they're paddling class 2. Don't think of yourself as more than because you're paddling class 4, right? Everyone gets to do what brings them joy and where they're at. And that's the whole point of the journey, is doing what you love. Kayaking is supposed to be fun, right? So do what you love. And if improving and not, up-leveling your skills is what you love, that's great. And that doesn't mean that you're any better or worse than someone else. And if you just like to meander and cruise and you want to get your skills up and just feel confident in class 2, then be stoked with that, right? You're no less than anyone else. So do what brings you joy. And then the last thing I would say is find someone or something to hold yourself accountable for your courage and confidence mindset. So for me, it's actually it's teaching, right? It's coaching. Coaching is what keeps me accountable. I know that when I offer Creek Week, I've got to keep my skills up. It's not that I don't like to paddle class 4, I do, I get going doing other stuff. I like to do a lot of different sports, but I know that Creek Week, I have got to have my skills, or I want to have my skills really top notch for Creek Week in April, right? So paddling class 4, I get back out on the green, and that's what does it for me. Yesterday I was on the dryway, and they're on Dragon's Tooth, one of the harder rapids. There's an eddy right above the big hole. You do the Harry Ferry, and the first 2 times we did 3 laps. And the first 2 laps, I was like, I'm just gonna run straight. And then the 3rd lap, I was like, you know what? I'm coaching folks on why ferrying is so important and jet ferrying is so important. This is a perfect example. I'm coaching folks on confidence and courage and pushing yourself. So I'm going to do this Harry Ferry in my slicey boat, and I'm going to walk my talk. And so you all, my coaching keeps me accountable. And the other thing so find an accountability partners who support you. And the other thing is say it out loud. So On our last run, I was paddling with my husband. I said, I'm going to catch the ferry. I'm going to do the hairy. I'm going to catch the eddy. I'm going to do the hairy ferry. And he's like, okay. Like, I wasn't asking for his approval, but saying it out loud holds me accountable. Like, I have just shared it, and it's scary to share. And there, in the past, I've heard people be like, don't share your dreams with people. Only share them definitely with people who have earned your trust, right? And have that honor. That's for sure. But don't be shy about sharing. The deal that people don't like about sharing is because then you've declared it, and that is both super powerful and scary. Right? And that it takes courage to actually declare your goal, right? But then once you declare it, don't be attached to outcome, right? You're going to do it. You're going to see how it goes. So those are some things. So recap: separate fact from story, let go of outcomes, do what brings you joy, have someone or something that helps keep you accountable for what your goals are and where you want to go. And declare it to those people, or the group, or whoever you want to be your accountability partner, to make it more powerful. The other thing I would say is for mindset is know where you want to go. It's just like scouting a rapid. You got to know where you want to go. You got to scout from the bottom up, reverse engineer. You got to know what you want and where you want to go and what brings you joy. So if you don't know what that is yet, contemplate that, and all these other pieces are going to fall into place. Okay, so a few things that I say to myself, because that was a question that I've gotten. So when I first get on the water, I touch the water and I express gratitude to the water spirits. Thank you for flowing. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Grateful that everyone stays upright and breathing and has a great day today. Okay, so I do a little prayer acknowledging the water, where I'm at. And the people that I'm with. If I'm nervous, I express gratitude for who I'm with, my mentors, my skills, because the brain cannot hold gratitude and fear at the same time. Try it, see what happens. Next, I ask myself, do I trust myself? Do you trust yourself, Anna, to make this move? And I don't like him and haw over the answer. It's either a yes or a no, and I go with that, right? Be decisive. Again, let go of outcome. Make a choice. Go with it. You can always choose again next time. Once I commit, again, I look and I focus on where I want to go. Once I commit, there's no like, oh, should I go here or there? No, I focus on where I want to go. So those are my tips for you on mindset, courage, and confidence. I can't wait to hear what you've got to say. So share your comments, your insights, and we'll discuss.